I'm relatively young to be in the gaming criticism niche. You arguably need to have been playing games for years in order to critique them successfully, and while I have been gaming for over a decade, more than half of that time consists of exclusively Pokemon, Smash Bros, and Mario Kart. It wasn't until 2017 that Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey opened my eyes to the broader world of video games, and cemented them as my number 1 and 2 favourite video games respectively. It wasn't until the end of 2018 that I managed to put those two games down, and when I did, I bought a PS4 just as Red Dead and Spider-Man were releasing, and then I began to explore this wonderful medium in full. The point is, I'm comparatively new to video games, so I'm not blinded by nostalgia for anything that isn't Nintendo related. However, I've been grinding at the hobby pretty hard this last half-decade, having completed 252 games at the time of writing. So I feel that gives me a unique voice to discuss all the games through a modern lens, and where better to start than where many an analyst say was the peak of gaming, the PS2 era. So, let's take a look at a handful of games that all came out before I could walk. I've excluded games where the only versions I've played are heavily updated ones, like Persona 4 and Shadow of the Colossus. Kingdom Hearts 1 is a weird game, just from concept alone, but its sheer belief in itself is what makes the game so endearing and an essential piece of art. I have no idea what is happening in this game, despite not needing any prior knowledge before playing. Still, it clearly made sense to Nomura, and he believes so heavily in his story that it can't help but be fascinating. That's not to say it's fascinating like a car crash, it still bursts with colour and childlike wonder that enraptures me with joy, and it has an entirely original combat system that would one day go on to be used in a remake of Final Fantasy VII. But to a modern day kid like me, I can't help but gawk at the level design, as it feels so unrealistic. Not the graphics, those are expected to age, but the levels themselves feel antiquated for a game that's supposed to immerse you in a Disney world. For example, Alice in Wonderland consists of about 3 big rooms that all connect to each other. This doesn't feel like Wonderland at all, it feels like a video game, and it's pulling me out of the experience. The story compels me to watch it, and the gameplay is intuitive and innovative, but this doesn't do a great job at making me feel like I'm exploring Disney worlds. Next is Silent Hill 2, a game I played just recently thanks to my viewers voting for me to play it on my YouTube community poll. And where Kingdom Hearts' world is what pulled me out of it, Silent Hill 2's world is what completely absorbed me. I am shocked at the undistilled amount of atmosphere secreting out of this game. To the weirdos who declare that they can only be immersed in games when their $4,000 computer is on suicide watch, I invite you to the best example of bad graphics equaling good visuals. It's a sad, melancholic experience that can be explored and interpreted in an endless amount of ways, and it sticks with you long after you've finished it. So, how is it for a modern gamer? You're expecting me to complain about the fixed camera, but that just adds to the sense of detachment James has. That he's so lost that not even the player has a feeling control over him. No, I'm going to complain about the puzzles. These are unintuitive and require some truly baffling logic to understand. Why can't I just fish in the shower drain with a hook? Because you need some here. No, you can't use your own. Open this box with 3 locks for a strand. I'm sorta glad that adventure games died out. Let's get into the final game, Resident Evil 4, specifically the PS4 port. I played this game in preparation for the remake, expecting to get it out of the way so I had a frame of reference for the new remake. I ended up skipping the remake and planned to for a long while, because I want this game to be my only memory of RE4 for at least a few years. I cannot believe how much of a masterpiece this game is on every level. Haunting art style, terrifying gameplay, and gloriously goofy story. This is gaming gamified. RE steps away from horror to lean more into action, but it doesn't lose an ounce of intensity with the swap. This comes down to the most critical design choice, and it's the reason I haven't played the remake. You can't move while aiming. By having hordes pursue you from all angles, it means you always have a blind spot you can't quickly check, so you have to guess when an enemy is about to lunge at you, creating a sense of dread from something you know is there but just can't see. So what doesn't hold up with this one? What does the Zoomer have to complain about this masterpiece? He clearly has no idea how games were developed in this era, so how is he going to nitpick this one? I have no criticism worth mentioning. I said before that Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey are my 1 and 2 games of all time for introducing me to gaming. Resident Evil 4 is the 3rd best game of all time, and that is purely because of how much it impressed me with its design. I have no nostalgia for this title, so I'm not blinded by hype. I can definitely say that Resident Evil 4 is the best designed game I have ever played, and I would not change anything about it.